Hi, everyone. My name is Satyajit. Feel free to call me Satya. I'm coming from IoT Analytics. I'm a principal analyst. We are market intelligence provider. We provide market intelligence to IoT community, chip to cloud. Uh, Today, I'm going to discuss one of the key topics of some of the key trends that we see in the market from IoT perspective, but specifically from a LPWAN perspective. And when we say LPWAN, it includes cellular, non-cellular, all of them. Just want to quickly want to point you, if you see by end of 2023, we had 16.6 billion IoT connections. And these are unique connections. It doesn't include end nodes, right? And among these 16.6 billion IoT connections, 8% was contributed by LPWAN connections, and yes, dominated by LoRaWAN and NB-IoT together. And if you see what we're forecasting right now is by end of 2030, it's going to grow with a penetration of 12%. And the key reasoning that will be like what is happening in LPWAN market right now, which makes sure there will be a 12% penetration by 2030 when there will be a 40 billion connections. Yes, the most of the connections, if you see right now, is dominated by Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and there's still going to be continued, but if you will see cellular, LPWAN, and these kind of technologies are going much faster than the market right now. And so what are the key trends in LPWAN right now in the market? I think one of the key trends in specifically LoRaWAN, what I see is the gateway becoming much more advanced in terms of technology, having more capacity, more coverage. Not only that, gateway becoming intelligent. They're becoming edge computing at the gateway level is coming into the picture. The network gateway I'm talking about for LoRaWAN technology, right? Multi-channel was already there, but now I think the algorithms have been more optimized to reduce the power consumption, and that has becoming one of the key technology trends that we are seeing in the LoRaWAN gateways. On top of that, I think one of the key trends that in LPWAN devices, I'm going to talk about with LoRaWAN devices, NB-IoT, cellular, NB-IoT, all these devices, LPWAN devices, what we are started to see, and this is a futuristic trend I would say like will happen, is that a tiny ML technology will also come into this picture. And we already saw in this embedded world in Nuremberg that Cortex A55 chipsets are getting implemented within these low power IoT devices. So this opens the door for LoRaWAN devices, battery powered devices, to use some sort of intelligence at the edge to make decisions. This is one of the key trends that we also saw during this year. And on top of that, key application, if we talk about key applications, smart meter, yes, has been the ruling applications for LPWAN. If you say NB-IoT, if you say LoRaWAN, they have been dominating. However, from past few years, we started to see a change in long tail of application, and they are now growing. One of the key applications with asset tracking is becoming very much important from the LPWAN side, right? And also, for specifically, if I talk about LoRaWAN, I saw the smart building applications, the thermostats, thermal thermostats, knobs are getting more and more traction nowadays. So these are the key trends that I'm seeing in the market right now from an LPWAN perspective. However, we'll focus. I'm going to more talk about the very small line that you see here is called others, and in others there is a small connection called satellite IoT connections. And when we talk about satellite IoT connection, it is very smaller compared to right now in terms of IoT connections we have. And the things that we analyze, it clearly makes sense that it's not going to grow, it's not going to be in billions, obviously because there's a specific requirement of the application. You cannot imagine to compete it with the, let's take LTCAT1 bis. LTCAT1 bis is growing much faster than any of the technology right now. But there's an application requirement for every technology, and it's a problem that needs to be solved, and satellite is going to solve most of the problem, but competing or comparing it with other technologies which have a different problem to solve is not the right comparison that we thought. So we clearly see, okay, yes, it's going to grow. It's going to grow in its own pace, and other new emerging technologies also come into the picture. Satellite IoT is not a new technology, as we talk about. It's been there for years and years and years, right? However, what are the things that we have changed in past few years? The LEO came into the picture. Prices has gone down from the hardware side of it. There are more and more companies, startups are coming into the picture, bringing the software solution, bringing the connectivity. But on top of that, 3GPP is knocking on the door. It says, oh, it's going to happen. Yes, it will take a lot of time. It will take years and years right now. But at some point of time in the next 2 to 3 years, we will be able to see a lot of deployments from 3GPP. And I'm going to tell you why. The chipset that do satellite capability in 3GPP technology, Alta Semiconductor, they have the chipsets. Even Qualcomm has these two chipsets. Is easily available, is much more lower price, much more scalable. The only thing is that the infrastructure is not built yet. From the hardware side, it is ready. On the other side of the LoRaWAN technologies or the satellite technologies, the infrastructure is actually ready and actually building as well. What is there is the ecosystem to be developed. The ecosystem from devices need to be developed. So from based on our analysis that we see, yes, LoRaWAN NTN will have opportunity to grow. And right now we are seeing few of the companies like EcoStar Mobile, Lacuna Space are actually the two of them having commercialized solutions. So we see a lot of improvements in the market. However, I think it's very important to address a real life problem and solutions to gain this market growth over the period of time. And it's important to understand, I'm starting with Iridium, but however, I just want to talk about the satellite IoT solution deployment is not about devices, it's not about chipsets and modules. There is a huge work and huge capex investment goes beyond that. There's satellite manufacturing cost, satellite launching cost, the ground station. Nobody talks about ground station. Ground stations are very important. It maintains your latency. Like even if your devices have a very good latency, satellite has a very good latency. But if your ground station is not in a right place or even not capable to send the data at the appropriate time, there is no point of being your satellite and your devices in optimum. So ground stations are as important as satellite manufacturing and satellite launching as well. And then satellite operation. So I didn't know that. While doing my research, I get to know that the satellite companies had to pay a fee to FCC for these things. I'm and this is an annual fee. No matter what, if you earn a revenue or not, you have to pay these fees. As these fees are huge cost. And on top of that, there is a maintenance cost of these devices and this network infrastructure. And then it comes the devices, the module parts, which is compared to the cost of deployment, it is much smaller compared to the network infrastructure. And it is important to understand that the terrestrial network has already been implemented by the network infrastructure players. Even for LoRaWAN, you implemented a gateway, you start creating your network infrastructure. It is a capex intensive requirement, but not as compared to the satellite IoT solution. Just want to quickly give you a ballpark number. The Iridium has launched multiple satellites over the period of time. The total cost of these manufacturing cost of these satellites were 2.2 billion. And these are the large size satellites, and the launching cost was 0.7 billion by SpaceX, or for all of the satellites. This gives us a clear picture that this is a very huge capex intensive deployments. Now, quickly I want to talk about the device side here. If you see the device, there is why even some people ask why the satellite IoT devices are so expensive. We need to understand that it's not the satellite module is in the picture. We have a Wi-Fi module and we have an LTM and NB-IoT module in this picture here, right? So there are 3 multi-radio components are there on top of the sensors that you have that you want to implement. This is just an example to give you that what are the components complexity that can go into the devices and which can bring the prices much higher than you can imagine. On top of that, the volumes affect the hardware market. If you have a scalability, if you have the volumes, you can bring down the prices. But right now, the case is not that. In satellite IoT market, you don't see that much volume. Hence, the prices are still up of these modules and these chipsets. Talking about Lacuna Space, we talked about that. Again, the satellite manufacturing, launching, ground station, and operating are. But the key of the things, devices comes in the very last picture, very last end, and to be very honest, when someone said it's the easier part, the more difficult part is the network infrastructures setup. Lacuna Space launched till now 10 satellites so far, and in basically works on LEO and MEO orbits. And I guess I'm missing two other the manufacturers. But just to give you an idea, that if you see the change in satellite architecture right here, very quickly, that the Iridium has a different size, and when you quickly see in the Lacuna one, it's a CubeSat. It's a totally different requirement. So, and we need to understand also that the price point of these two will be very different. It cannot be compared to the larger one, right? So, I want to talk about this one very quickly. Just if you remember, I just saw you Iridium one. There was some multiple radios. Here, if you will see, you have much more complex components already there, right? So it's not because it's meant for extreme remote location devices, right? So you need to make sure that these devices ensures you have GNSS modules in there already. One of the key things that I want to quickly talk about, the ST Micro one. This will give a good example. When I saw the price of this ST Micro chipsets, if you order 10,000 of them, the price is very negligible. The moment you order just 100 of them, the price is going to affect you a lot. And for me, that changes the perspective of the satellite market. That's how much the scale and the production or scalability changes the BOM of any device. Astra Cost, yes, we all know that it's been from a long time. They generally deal in the fleet management, in an asset tracking environment. Again, very different kind of environment of satellites, very specific use cases. The total cost of manufacturing and launching services of Astra Cost, all total till now, for all the satellite manufacturing and launching was 50 million. And again, these are the huge numbers that we are talking about. Yes, there are multiple chipsets in there, multiple sensors to support these technologies. And the more the requirement changes, the more the application changes, the more sensor you will require. So it's not fixed that you will buy this device and you can use it for your purpose. You need to understand what is your requirement in using these applications. You cannot use each and every device. It cannot be used in every scenario. The specific sensors are there, and if you require that sensor, you need to use those devices. This is just a sample. I'm going to quickly talk about what we are trying to do in IoT Analytics. We are doing a report on satellite IoT market. This is our second edition. What we're trying to do is basically calculate the cost of deployment and return of investment. And when we started to say that, hey, we will do this, we thought, okay, it will be a very easy process, calculate all the cost, and then play a scenario that when these companies will be able to get these return. But the more we dive into it, we find there are a lot of variables. There can be a nano satellite that can support 10,000 to 50,000 devices. Can support only 5 to 10,000 devices. Not only that, will this nano satellite be able to fully reach to its optimum level? Will it be able to support all the satellites at the same time? All the devices at the same time? We don't know. So there are multiple aspects of all of these scenarios there, and what we started to do that, okay, let's build a calculator on top of that. So what we are going to do is we're going to build a Excel calculator, some sort of thing, where you will say, okay, if I have a nano satellite, it supports these many devices, and then what will be my deployment cost should look like. On top of that, what will be let's say, device price, okay? So $200 per device prices, right? Gateway, $1,000 device prices. And if I deploy them fully that support my satellite, what will be the revenue that I will get from a device sale only, right? And then the subscription came into the picture. So doing this analysis was very interesting for us. This will be part of our satellite IoT market report in detail. Feel free to reach out to me for this one. But again, it took us a lot of understanding, and we will need your more help on this one as well. So quickly recap, what are the key takeaways? Yes, LPWAN role in IoT will increase, as we said, from 8% penetration to 12% penetration, which clearly says that it's growing much faster than the whole IoT ecosystem right now. Talking about satellite, requires upfront investment in satellite infrastructure. That's given. You need a high infrastructure cost. Infrastructure and operating costs dominate the satellite market compared to a device one. Device is the easy part that you can build and you can deploy. The more difficult part is the infrastructure, connectivity, I would say platform, I would say software, protocol conversion. Those are the more difficult part. In terms of return on investment, I would say there will be a longer L curve for realizing substantial return for the satellite, and I think we all need to understand this is not going to change in overnight. It will take over a longer period of time to reach the point where we talked about the satellite IoT market will grow. Quickly, as I said, we're going to have 2 reports coming out in February and January on LPWAN market and satellite IoT market. Feel free to reach out to us if you want to provide any inputs, you want to get in touch with our representative for the TOC, feel free to let us know for any questions, okay? Thank you.